After a minute or two, use a rubber spatula to check to see if the edges of the crepe pulls away from the pan. When it does, it's ready to flip. And again, just use your rubber spatula or anything that you have, like a pancake spatula, to flip it over. You don't have to toss it to be all fancy and show off.
Hi guys, that was our very first video that we published March 8th, 2011, and it was called How to Make Crepes at Home.
What's up, universe? It's Julie and Joe.
Happy 10-year anniversary!
And in case you're new here, we have a cooking show online where I also teach kitchen basics, catered towards beginner cooks, and we've been doing this thing for 10 long years.
Seems like forever.
We're like YouTube grandma and grandpa over here. YouTube wasn't all that popular or well known at the time.
Yeah, it was a pretty new platform at the time.
Yeah.
But yeah, we were both creative people, and then she had history of actually teaching how to cook to other people. So I'm like, hey, why don't we just try to create a video and see where it goes from there.
Because I was already a food blogger on chefjulieyoon.com, and simultaneously, like Joe mentioned, I was already teaching cooking classes live to real people. And you know, he's a photographer, so his background is in advertising, photography, and graphic design. I'm like, hey, that's like the trifecta when it comes to creating this kind of thing. And at the time, he was working full time, so we couldn't really work on this really unless it was a Saturday.
Yeah, it was definitely a hobby when we started, just to see how it feels. I had the camera and stuff like that, so
one DSLR, just one, and like one tripod and no lights.
Yeah. So definitely it was the early stages of creating your own videos.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, we just started to do it on a weekend.
And why did I choose how to make crepes at home? I really don't know. It was totally random. I thought, what can I film that's easy to execute in terms of filming wise? And then I thought, what can I make that would seem unattainable to a normal person, but then kind of break down the mystique or the mysteriousness of it so that you can make it at home. So even in the intro, looking back at it, I talk about how all you need is a nonstick pan and a whisk. You don't need a fancy little crepe pan or one of those sticks. And I thought that was kind of still true to this day of how I think we do our show. We filmed it out of our California apartment, upstairs apartment, with one DSLR, no microphone, and no studio lights. So we used just natural lighting from the windows. And I think that's why we did the style of where I'm just talking in an interview voiceover form, and then all of the cooking was in the B-roll form. So honestly speaking, that was the easier way to film.
Yeah, because we didn't really have too many experience as far as filmmaking, but then as far as we wanted to be on the shorter side, first video was 3 minutes and 39 seconds, so it's really short compared to what we produce right now.
Which is somewhere upwards to 20 minutes sometimes. But yeah, we try to be very YouTube-ish, where it was short form videos.
Especially at that time.
Yeah, quick bites. And yeah, so it took us a long time to make all those episodes because we could only film it on a Saturday. And then editing took us a long time because it was a learning curve for both. And at the time, I didn't have any editing skills. And so now, actually, 10 years later, I have a lot of editing skills I learned from Joe, and I'll edit most of our videos, maybe 70% of them or something.
So our current process is, she'll edit down all the videos, and then I'll just kind of decorate it up.
Fine tune it.
Yeah, make it a little bit more fancy, a little color correcting and audio and all that stuff.
For those of you who are new, I worked behind the scenes of cooking shows. That's how I started out. So that's Food Network, that's PBS shows, where I was working behind the scenes of cookbooks, magazines, and TV shows. So as you can tell, I had a love for food media, a knowledge for it, a taste of it. And then as I was doing it, I'm like, hey, I could do that too, right? So I think I always had a hunger for it to maybe be on TV, which is why we tried YouTube, because I couldn't get on TV.
Well, also because I have an advertising background, I'm a former art director, and so learning to storyboard everything was sort of my understanding of how a video should be. And so because she has background with food media, I have background with creative media and producing media, I felt like it was a perfect team.
Yeah. And So if you look at some of our videos in that preseason, you see that I actually tried for competitions like craft foods. There was like a competition to be a spokesperson for Philadelphia cream cheese.
Hey guys, I'm Julie Yoon from Orange County, California, and today I'm gonna spend all day baking you a peach pie. I'm just kidding. I'm actually gonna make you a very easy peaches and cream cup.
And so I did stuff like that. I also tried to apply for a Food Network star, and I tried to get myself out there, but it just didn't catch. But it still was kind of cool that YouTube allowed us to create that content on our own without anyone dictating to us, without us having to pay anything. It was completely free. But then we didn't get serious about it until I realized, you know, if we really want to take this YouTube thing to the next level, the food blog and YouTube, then we have to kind of spend more time on it, like maybe part-time at least, maybe full-time. And so I had this crazy dream that the two of us can work on it full-time. And it took Joe an entire year to get on board. But he was still working at Bear Paints at that point, right, as a graphic designer. And so he had a nice full-time job, and I just felt like maybe we need to not have that full-time job and go in this together, which seems nuts.
So like she's a little bit of a dreamer, and so I have to make sure that, you know, everything is set to make sure if we're gonna do this, that we be prepared, we know what we're getting ourselves into. You know, obviously if you try to do this full time, where are we gonna make our money? And then that's one of the big reasons why we moved out of California into the Chicagoland area, is because one, it's expensive to live out in California. And then two, I grew up here, and then my parents were also here too, and so they were willing to help us out a little bit. And so that was sort of like how we ended up coming to Chicago, and then wanting to actually see if we could actually do this full time, and if we're gonna do it now before we actually start a family.
So I would say the first 2 years on YouTube was kind of like not realistic, because it was like putting out one video every 2 weeks, every 3 weeks.
Once a month.
Yeah,
or like even the second year, I think we literally put out 2 videos for the whole year.
So in 2013, that's when Joe came up with the idea of doing a Kickstarter. And see, mind you, nowadays Kickstarter, like everyone does it. But back then, everyone's like, kick a who? Like nobody heard of it. And so when we launched it, and all of our family friends are like, what? You're just begging people for money? You're just asking the public to give you money just cause? Like they did not understand it.
Crowdsourcing wasn't really a thing.
No, not heard of. It was like another hurdle to jump through, because we had to explain that. We had to explain YouTube. We had to even explain what it means to subscribe. That was our generation. That was, you know, the understanding with the...
At least for the common folks who are not into the creative world.
The common folks.
Everyone else that's not involved with media.
Yeah.
So. We're like sort of like the early adopters.
Well, you were always Mr. Tech, and I was kind of always artsy. So then we moved to cross country to Chicago, and the funny thing is that we got funded with our Kickstarter while we were en route to Chicago. Mm-hmm. We didn't even make it there yet, and it was a risk, so we were willing to risk it all. And you know, with Kickstarter, if you don't make your goal, you don't get any of the money. So we were about to go and maybe possibly not get any of the money. But we got funded beyond our goal when we were on the way to Chicago. So by the time we got there, we had that little chump change, and we could buy a second DSLR, another tripod, some studio lights, and a mic. And that's how we did season 1 of our show.
And that was back in, I think, October 2013. 6.5 years ago.
Yeah.
So that seems like, it feels like it was yesterday.
But we ended up living with Joe's parents for 6 months, and that was hard on everybody. And we didn't want that, but we were also at the same time remodeling our condo. So that was another reason we had to take so much time there. Yeah, we ended up filming out of Joe's mom's kitchen, and that was hard because although it was built like a studio in a way, it was hard because we had to like break down all of the stuff in the kitchen, set up all of our own stuff, and then break it back down and then put her stuff back before she came home from work. And like, we did that every single time we filmed a video. Plus this was brand new for us.
Yeah, so we actually changed our video style to be more from a voiceover to actually being live, sort of, you know.
Like a cooking show.
Like a cooking show. One of the big factors was that With the voiceover, it felt like you couldn't really see Julie's real personality because it was just all scripted. But then with more of a live show, even though it's scripted, she could kind of go off the cuff and bring out a little bit more of her personality.
Yeah. And at the time, I was really influenced by Nigella Lawson. I don't know if you guys know her, but what I liked about her show is that it was very realistic and had this sense of like you're peering into her life, almost like a reality show, like almost like a reality cooking show. So there was like elements of her, you know, getting her kids ready to school or standing by the window and sipping coffee in her bathrobe. And like, I really liked that. I think by nature, I'm a storyteller first. I really enjoy a good story. And so I think that's why we were trying to shape that. But it was fun filming and getting all that B-roll because we had a lot more time back then. You know, we don't now with Lincoln. But that was when we received a lot of criticism too about like, make your shows shorter, like, right? Like
at that time, people didn't, they knew YouTube, but then it was more of that quick bites, just short videos. And so for us, we knew that we wanted to be, 10 to 15 minutes so that we could actually bring in a little bit of that story element into it. And so when you think of YouTube now, people actually sit down and watch something. Back then, it was just like, sort of like TikTok-ish as far as like short content and short bites of little entertainment here and there. And so, they wouldn't understand what we were trying to get at. We were also bringing in our vlogs and our daily life into it, especially when we did trips, like when we went to Seattle or when we went to Catalina Island. We wanted to document that, so we also included that into our channel.
And that's the whole storytelling part, because I just couldn't help but share. Like once I got the bug of like sharing our lives on YouTube through food, I really wanted to share travel vlogs. So I enjoyed it. And then later down the road, we realized like maybe this channel isn't the right platform for those vlogs. So we ended up making a channel called Our Universe.
So we had two channels.
And Universe off of the riff of our last name. And that's why we're always like, what's up, Universe? And then later on, we realized that channel was hard to maintain, like trying to like have it life to two different channels. More on that later. But just in case you don't make it to the end, that channel still exists, but it's now called Life with Julie Yoon.
Yeah, so the first season we had 20 episodes. And so that was kind of our Kickstarter goal, was we're gonna have one season of 20 episodes. When we did the Kickstarter, it just made sense to me, like, oh, it's kind of like a regular TV show where we have seasons. And so that was sort of like easy, like where to start and where to end.
Season 1 had no rhyme or reason to it. There was no theme. It was a hodgepodge. It was just about being resourceful and creative in the kitchen. And I still cook that way, but there was no like theme. Like who was I actually speaking to? I don't know. We weren't into like SEO and like what is the most searchable? What are people looking up? We didn't know any of that stuff. So we're just like putting out anything. By episode 10, we were able to move into our own condo and our own space, and that was the spaghetti squash with easy meat sauce. I kind of have like, that episode's memorable for two reasons. One, it's because it was our first episode in our new place. You can see how peaceful I look and happy. But number two, that time Joe was really into SEO and he's like, we gotta make up stuff that's searchable, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, okay. And he's like, no one's gonna look up spaghetti squash.
Well, because, as a non-foodie, that's not a common, vegetable that you think about when it comes to food.
It's not like how to make pizza.
Yeah, because I never had spaghetti squash before. And so I was like, who searches that? Does anybody even know about this vegetable? Like, and so, I went in it more so, not that it's not good content, but it's like, no one's gonna ever find this.
Yeah, and it's kind of true, because in the beginning it was slow growing, but I stuck to it. I was like, no, I feel like I need to make it. And guess what, guys? It's still one of my most popular recipes 7 years later.
So I was proven wrong that nobody searched for it, because it is a really healthy option that tastes really good. And then also, like, the cooking show is called Bits and Pieces. And so, we even took a long time before we even started the Kickstarter of like, what should this name be? Like, Bits and Pieces kind of fit, because sort of like Julie's philosophy as far as food is, you don't need a recipe to make exactly what you want. You just take out different pieces, bits and pieces from your fridge and from your pantry, and then just create something out of it.
So after the first season, we filmed a video called 10 Lessons We Learned from filming season 1 of our show. And it's kind of interesting. I have no idea why we made that video, because that's like not necessarily our audience. It's not like people are coming to our channel to learn how to make a cooking show. But oddly enough, it still did get some traction, even down the road, like years later. Now it's gotten about 25,000 views. And so I feel like that's nice that people still find it helpful. And even now, people are writing in comments that it was helpful, because we were very authentic. We're like, yo, we definitely did some stuff wrong, and this is what you should do to help yourself out. And I think that it was like a good learning experience for us.
Yeah, I think like part of the whole YouTube is, okay, how do we not just create but also document sort of our learning process, because we're all new to this, and because we were sort of more in the earlier stages of YouTubers, part of it was like what works and what doesn't.
Season 2, we decided to do things right. And what that means is that we kind of like decided to care more about SEO, and then we tried to batch film. So we did a theme, which was season 2, cooking for 2. And we thought that was appropriate because this might have been the last chance before we like start a family and we're no longer just the two of us. And I thought it was an interesting concept because it's pared down recipes. We batch filmed. So that means we were like filming. And then we had enough in the stockpile that we had time to do other things. Editing and filming didn't always feel like a hamster on a wheel. Like you edit, you film, you edit, film, edit. Like it wasn't like that. And because we batch filmed, I knew on the calendar like which holidays were coming up and made everything match appropriately. So that was kind of like our golden year where we did things right, I would say.
We didn't have any other jobs. We didn't have any, we didn't have Lincoln to take care of. So it was just two of us. We knew exactly what we wanted. And so, yeah, we learned to sort of crank things out.
This is also when we became part of the Tastemade network, okay? And we were so excited. We even made a couple videos about, we joined the Tastemade network. So what we thought we were gonna get from joining those like MCNs or multi-channel networks is that we were gonna have this community, we're all together, kumbayaing, give us opportunities we didn't have. And in the very beginning we did. That's why if you saw some of our vlogs, it's like us eating out and doing these restaurant reviews. Those were paid for by Tastemade network. And then we also were able to use royalty-free music from their network. So later on we decided, and it was just actually this past like 2 years ago or like last year. Last year. We decided to exit from them because we just didn't feel like it was the right direction for us. Like they weren't really like, focusing on creators anymore.
Yeah, I mean, back then the whole MCN was pretty popular. Everyone pretty much had a quote unquote a group that they would be in as far as different categories. Like there was a gamers community, there was like the cooking community, there's like the fashion and beauty community. And so everyone sort of like had their niche. And so it was very common for other people to just sort of like, oh, I'm a gamer, so I'm gonna go into this MCN. And so it was very common. But then as time went along, it became less and less of a thing.
So basically what it is that they take a percentage of your money that you earn from YouTube, and that's like the trade-off, right? Like they earn a little bit of money off of you, but in return, they're supposed to help you out with like collaborations, hooking up to opportunities, and giving you royalty-free music. But after a while, for all those years, because we just exited out like last year, I was like, what are we actually benefiting from? I know that they're doing great things now with their own like network, and they're like almost like their own TV show kind of thing. And I know a lot of people had great experiences with them.
I mean, they helped us a lot as far as like,
music.
At the time, you had to pay a good chunk of money for royalty-free music. Yeah. And so for us, we weren't making that much money, and so that was sort of a benefit. So we stuck around longer than probably a lot of other people.
And then within season 2, we reached our first 1,000 subscribers. Doesn't that sound crazy that after all that work, we only reached 1,000 subscribers? But at the time, it meant like 1 million subscribers to us. It was that exciting because like even our own families didn't know what to do or like how to watch or anything. We did a spicy ramen challenge to celebrate, and I still think that that's a cute video, and we decided that we were going to celebrate all of our milestones going forward. Unfortunately, we didn't. We did it for a few.
I mean, also that was the first one we sort of like did it on a whim, because all of our videos before, there's so much prep work that goes into it. With this one, it was just like, okay, put up the camera and then just kind of go with how the wind flows.
The funny thing is that it took us that many years. How many years is that to gain our first 1,000 subscribers? And then we received our next 1,000 subscribers almost overnight. Because
probably within a few days.
Yeah, because it was one YouTuber, Christine, shouted us out as one of her favorite things for that month. And we were just like one of the things on her list, like a favorite YouTube channel. And because of that, 1,000 of her followers came over to us. And if you're still with us from Christine's channel, thank you guys so much. I hope you still like us, but yeah, thank you for coming with us on the journey. In 2015, we celebrated 3,000 subscribers. And so we celebrated by tasting Asian snacks, which I still think is a good video, but didn't get as much traction. So I might have to do a redo or something.
Yeah, it didn't do as well, but you know, it did decently well as well, so.
But it was cool because at 3,000 subscribers, we could see 5,000 subscribers in sight. And that was like a huge success to us if we could reach that goal. And I think 10,000 subscribers was our ultimate mega goal.
It was like, oh my gosh, we're famous.
Yeah. So in 2015 as well, we did our first product review with Soul Mom Approved, and it was reviewing Korean rice scooper paddles. This one right here matches my outfit. Still use it, still love it. And that gave us a little taste of, we can actually do product reviews and kitchen tool reviews and things. And then we launched our e-cookbook. And that was something that we didn't think that we would necessarily put for sale. Because again, that was the reward that we gave to our Kickstarter backers. And it was the recipes from season 1. And it's a great e-cookbook. I'm still really proud of it. We worked our butts off for that.
So we did it for 2 weeks. We recreated 20 recipes that we had on our show.
It was batch cooking and take photography in a row. So I was food styling it with all the props and accessories, and Joe was trying to be creative with his photography skills, and it was fun doing it, but it was exhausting. And we took off 2 weeks of our life, did nothing else but that. And honestly, you can still buy it today. If you want to support us and you want to buy one of our products, we'll leave a link for you down below to buy our e-cookbook. It's a really good book, and it's interactive. There's links to videos and step-by-step pictures, photography you haven't seen on our blog, and extra tidbits like things about our pantry and whatever. So it's a great one, and if you want to support us, then check it down below and let us know if you want to see future products from us, because that's the last product we made. In season 3, we called it Simply Summer Fresh, and that was filmed all through the summertime, and I wanted to try something else of making healthy, lighter foods. And I didn't know that that's when our breakout video would come. We were painting our apartment for real. So then our kitchen was really small and it was really hot, and I'm I cannot film in here. I need to film something that is easy to cook and doesn't require a lot of heat. And let me just make this. Let me just find, let's shrimp and avocado summer rolls, sure. I threw it together, called it a day, and that one is our all-time most popular videos. I cannot believe it. I mean, it didn't turn viral right away. It was just another video.
It was a slow burn. It was it just went slowly, and then everyone started liking it. YouTube apparently.
And it was featured somewhere maybe.
Yeah, YouTube liked it, their algorithm, and so if you look up just even spring rolls, our video would show up.
And it's crazy because to this day, almost every other day, I'll get a hate comment on that video because, as it gets more popular, you have a lot of likes, but you also have a lot of hate comments. And I don't know, it was kind of my love-hate video because I love it. It's still a great recipe, but because I threw it together without much thought, there's some mistakes and there's some things I would improve for next time. But yeah, it's a love it or hate it kind of video. And if you don't know, you can check it down below too. And then we reached 5,000 subscribers in the middle of season 3. So that was the pizza challenge. You remember that?
I very much know that because my reaction was very authentic and disgusted at the same time. So
I can still taste, because it was a kind of Russian roulette of the toppings. It was a way to torture ourselves. And we had crazy things from canned mackerel to gummy bears melted on your pizza. And when I tasted mine, It was so beyond disgusting that like I felt like I was retching for like 2 weeks after, and like if I think about it, I can still taste it in my mouth. In the fall, I was asked to participate in this competition called The Pitch, and that was sponsored by She Knows Media, or Blog Her. And so I was really honored because it was like me and maybe 3 or 4 other women that were asked, who are like women entrepreneurs, like all doing different things. We were asked to have this contest where we pitch ourselves within like 2 minutes or something. And I was flown out to New York for a day, and I had to record, and it was my first time working with a camera crew other than Joe. And it was the scariest thing I ever did because you can't make mistakes. There was like no editing, and you have to pitch yourself and your business. And then I had to do it live in front of a bunch of other women and a panel of judges, and I was like so nervous, but it was such a great experience. And I did that at the Blog Her conference, but at the same time, that conference, I didn't win, by the way, but it was still great to do it. But we also were asked to be on a panel to speak about how to create a cooking show online.
Yeah, so it was like first time, I guess, sort of like, I felt like it was recognized for the very first time outside of our immediate circle. And so like we were actually onto something. And so being recognized and feeling like we were the experts of DIY cooking show, to be recognized for that, I felt like it was it was fun.
For season 4, we did Korean inspired recipes because we had a chance over the summer to go to Korea and stay there for like about a month.
My brother actually lives out there with his family.
So that trip was good because I felt like, you know, with creative work, you have to kind of be inspired again, right? And I think that's why I called the season Korean Inspired. Like, yes, it was a riff on like, I'm not just doing straight Korean, but I'm also gonna do Korean fusion and do my own twist on things. But I was really inspired. I mean, I just couldn't stop. Like the recipes were pouring out of me because as we went, we filmed a whole vlog series of us like eating out and, you know, doing daily life, even taking our niece to school and like, you know, all these different things. So like, we'll leave a link for the first episode of that vlog down below. You can watch the series. And unfortunately, we lost the footage for like the last half of our trip. It was so devastating, seriously devastating. It gained so much traction, and you'll see like there's a lot of views on those videos. It's very popular, but we lost our footage. There was nothing we could do about it to regain it. So it kind of like stops in the middle, but it's a good watch. Everyone and their mom, literally even our moms, were telling us to do Korean food. Like, you'll be so popular. It's like so trendy. You know, everyone likes gochujang and kimchi now. And I knew that. But I was afraid that once I do this season, those who subscribed, if I ended up doing something else because of the algorithm, that they would unsubscribe or that they would not be as interested. And frankly, that's what happened, you know? And so I was afraid of it. And then I know the faithful few have been with us. Like, you've still been with us, like no matter what I dish out. That was definitely our most popular season. Every video broke thousands of views. Some of them have now reached like maybe over 500,000 views, which is nuts to us. Like, that sounds crazy. But in 2016, we were invited by one of our partners, Side Chef, they're like an app, that they asked us to come to California. And by this time, remember, we're not in California anymore. So we were asked to come to YouTube Space LA and be a featured chef there. So I had to like make a bunch of appetizers, like a dish, put out my business cards, my channel name. And that was really cool because that was the first time we ever got featured in any sort of way for doing YouTube.
Especially because it was in YouTube Space LA, and it's like a place where all the YouTubers come, like the big famous ones, the big subscriber ones, and to do their networking, to film their shows. And so that was, I felt like, another affirmation that we are being recognized and doing a good job with our YouTube videos.
And I think that might have given me the bug or the taste to cook for real people again. And because of food media, I enjoyed that I could reach more people, but I kind of missed that like one-on-one like reaction, like the immediate gratification of seeing people's reactions. And people don't go into food unless they have a heart for hospitality. After that, we were partnered up with our friend, Chef James, that we met here in Chicago to do an event called Eat for North Korea. And that was kind of this event where we were fundraising for North Korean refugees by cooking, and people would pay for tickets and all the proceeds would go to the North Korean refugees. And that was cool because it legitimized me again. It was like, oh yeah, like I can still cook, I'm still a chef, like, you know, and it was really fun to come up with that and cook for real people. And I met some other local chefs in Chicago, some of them kind of famous, and got to like see them one-on-one and be part of that like camaraderie. And I think that around that time, I also tried out for Food Network Star again. So the other times I submitted an application but never heard back. This time I went into Chicago at an open casting call. Joe was with me. And yeah, long story short, some of you have heard this story already, but I made it through all the rounds, right? First round, second round, I think third round. And then at the last round, when I was talking to the producers online, it was like a FaceTime or like a Skype or something at the time. And that's when I got dropped. I had even known, like I signed contracts. I knew what my salary was going to be per episode. And I even signed like a privacy agreement that I would not be able to see my husband or anyone, talk to him for 3 months. And at the time, like I had no idea why I made it so far to only be dropped. Because you guys, this was my dream, right? Like this is what I was aiming for, to be on TV. But little did I know, like shortly after, we actually became pregnant. So I think that God has his reasons and his timing. And then we finally did another celebration because we reached 25,000 subscribers.
So we did the baby food challenge to sort of celebrate and then also announce that we're pregnant, expecting. So that was obviously a big turning point within our marriage, within our family. And so we were super excited. Also, we wanted to document because we were, you guys were sort of going along, being part of our lives.
But, we said we made our universe. So that is a vlog channel. And honestly, in hindsight, we should have put all that content over there. But because we had more of an audience over in this channel, we kind of got greedy and we put all that content here. We're like, well, more eyeballs, more videos, whatever, like it'll be good. We didn't know about the YouTube algorithm and how that would mess it up.
Well, even because we were so back and forth about one channel or two channel. And so very beginning, we only had one channel. And then once we decided to try to do more vlogs, we decided to have the two channels. But then after that, we realized that it takes a lot of work trying to sustain two channels. And so we decided to just combine everything into one channel. So we were doing that and putting all of our vlogs. And then as the YouTube algorithm was constantly changing, for us, it was like, well, if we put our food stuff here and then we put our personal vlog stuff here, people who are not interested in our personal lives but just interested in our food are gonna skip our personal vlog videos, and then therefore it might not reach them. And so we ended up eventually splitting it back into two channels.
And only like our faithful few watched everything. So we do have like a good amount of eyeballs on them, but not like anywhere near what our food stuff was. And yeah, that messed up the algorithm, because if you skip the content because it's not Korean food or anything else you came to our channel for, then YouTube would automatically be like, you're not interested, and we would no longer show up in their feed. I even got into thrifting at the time because I was feeling very low confidence about having a mom bod, and like I didn't know like how to like deal with that anymore. And so thrifting like is something I always enjoyed in college. I forgot about it, and I kind of like introduced that into my life during that time. So I was like, this is fun. Joe doesn't seem to care about the stuff that I got. Let me just share it here to my audience. So now our channel's a little wackadoo, right? Because we got like Korean recipes and cooking for two, baby stuff, and thrifting. It's like all over the place. So we really should have put our lifestyle, travel, baby stuff like all on our universe. We really should have, whether we had less people watching it or not.
But then if you wanted to kind of have the two separate audiences in a way of, if you're just interested in the food, just stay here. If you're interested in both of our food and our lifestyle, then you could subscribe to both.
But I still shared a few more things. Like in 2018, Lincoln and I were featured in Chicago Parent Magazine. To me, it was like such a pinnacle moment because I was starting to feel down, because I was like, man, I can't get my groove back. I don't know when I'm going to be able to still get back into cooking and filming, because I was watching him full time, and there was no way that I could do that or have the energy to do it. I was still like not sleeping through the night. But Chicago Parent Magazine somehow got wind of me and wanted to interview me as one of the women, like working moms. And I was in the lineup of even people like news reporters and stuff. So I was like so honored. And at the time, my interview was kind of solemn because I'm like, I don't know what I'm doing. Like, I don't know like how I'm going to get back to work and stuff. But it was kind of nice to be recognized for something other than being a chef. I was being recognized for being a mom. And I thought that was kind of interesting. Later that year in the fall, we got back on the horse and we decided to film season 5. I felt really happy and ambitious about it because we decided I'm going to do like a season of snacks, right? It's called Snack Break. And the reason I chose that was because I thought I need to do simpler, faster, quicker recipes and shorter videos because we could only do it while Lincoln was napping. And, you know, at the time he was napping for about an hour and a half. And if you're a stay-at-home mom and you know, like, you're never not doing something, right? So like I'd be watching him all morning and like exhausted from that, probably had a sleepless night the night before. Then put him down for the nap, which is a whole thing in itself. Get dressed, set up the kitchen, film it, break it all down. He wakes up and then I don't have a break. I have to just go back to watching him making dinner like normal life. So we did that and I was so proud of us for doing that. And guess what? That season was so bad, like it bombed, right? Nobody watched it.
I mean, I don't know about bombed, it just didn't do well as we hoped for.
And so that really broke my heart. It broke my heart because I was like, man, like I'm trying so hard. I like, gosh darn, like killed myself for this. And yet it's not getting any kind of notification or traction. And I think a lot of it had to do with the algorithm, the fact that we were on a break for so long, the fact that, you know, people who subscribed, like were looking for the Korean food, not snacks. You know, it was a lot of those things. And the funny thing is that now some of these recipes in its lifetime and the evergreenness of it are doing well. Like one of our videos, like the Levan Bakery dupe one, like cookie, that one has probably like 90,000 views or something. So there's a couple of videos that...
I mean, that's all SEO too, so
Yeah.
because people are looking specifically for that cookie, so.
Yeah. So back then I had no hope, but now it's like funny when you look back because you're like, oh, you never know, right? Yeah, so I was really sad about that. For sure, I took a break for about 6 months after that. I just couldn't bring myself to film again. Like we had fights like every day. Like I was like every month I'd be like, I don't know if I want to do this. And then he'd be like, what did you sign up for? I did not invest all this time and money to do this. Like, you know, you got to know what you want and like whatever. But I really wanted to quit. I'm like, I need to just stop. This is not for me. So then one day I filmed a video called Why I Almost Quit YouTube because I was this close to quitting. And for those of you guys who are like, oh, don't quit. Like legit, I was going to quit. And I was very raw and honest about it. I just filmed it in my bedroom by myself. And I just like poured out my heart to you guys. And that was like the first time I think you've seen like that kind of authentic side of me that wasn't like scripted and whatever. So some of you guys were so touching and so moving, you know, because you were really encouraging me to keep going. And that's what happens in the life cycle of a YouTuber. There are days you really let the negative comments, the lack of views, the vanity metrics, the lack of financial gain, like all that stuff, because it's a business at the end of the day. And if you're not making the money that you sought out for, it's very discouraging, you know? In 2018, 2019, you'll see that I have like a new channel intro because I suddenly had like a newfound like pep in my step. And that's when we decided to do what we're doing now currently. And that's not a season of our show, but I felt like I needed to have the freedom to not be tied in with a theme of a show, but to experiment. Right?
Yeah, I mean, like the whole theme, it's great that we had a theme and so we can know what to focus on. But then also the bad part is that we had a theme that we could only be on that one little focus. And so when we had the idea of like, oh, I want to try something else, you can't really go into that lane because we were so, until the season is done and we can't do anything. And so it's a double-edged sword.
Joe came up with an idea of this cook with me in real life, and he decided to do it like during Thanksgiving. He pushed me. He was like, just film yourself. Yeah, like grocery shopping, prepping, doing all the things you're actually going to legitimately do for real life and just show it. And it would have been nice if I could have gotten that out prior to Thanksgiving, but since it was real life, it came out like while Thanksgiving was happening and then afterwards. But people still liked it and they watched the content the following year too, and it was helpful. But it was good for me because it was the first time I let the perfectionism go. It was not highly produced, there was not good lighting. I was wearing whatever everyday makeup, and I filmed myself entirely. So I filmed myself with tripods, like in the grocery store, being embarrassed, and then edited it, and it was good. So also during this time, we forgot to mention that Joe also had to get another job. So like it's been a few years now, but during this time, we also couldn't go as fast as we would like to because Joe has another job now. So we hint at it sometimes that we're not full-time YouTubers because I'm part-time, full-time mom, right? And he's part-time worker. He works as a director of media and communications for our church. So he does like videos and graphic design and editing over there.
Yeah, because initially when we first started, we were trying to do this all in, but then because we weren't growing fast enough, we weren't making enough money, our savings was depleting, and then therefore I had to look for another part-time job so that it would sort of sustain us and give us a little bit more of a runway.
Without like giving up.
Yeah.
We also at that time finally paid for a course from Video Ranking Academy from Sean Cannell and Think Media team. And I think that was very helpful because we never really invested into YouTube by paying money for something, but it's the first time we actually like studied it and like paid and like figured out what we were doing wrong. We were trying to problem solve. After taking the course, we realized that we can have more freedom in doing multiple shows within our own channel. And so that's kind of what we're doing now. If you pay attention to like the beginning credits of some of our videos, they switch a little bit. Like it'll say, cook with me, or it'll say bits and pieces cooking show, or ask Chef Julie, or kitchen tool review, because those are all of our little shows that we're still building up. And that gives us the flexibility and freedom to be creative and try different things and film different kinds of content.
And then just overall, I mean, we've been doing this now for 10 years, but I mean, it's constantly evolving. We're trying to still figure out what our main business structure is. I mean, YouTube will always be there as long as we still plan to have chefjulieyoon as a brand, but then also trying to branch out to different areas to grow in and sustain our own business and actually grow our business.
Right, because we were so obsessed with being YouTubers when we first started, and you know, like weren't thinking of it as a business. And if you're gonna just go off of the YouTube, you know, money, like you really won't survive unless you make like, you have millions of views per video. You have to have other streams of income, basically. And so we're trying now to launch on Skillshare. If this video comes out before our Skillshare course is launched, we'll edit it down like with our information. And if you follow that direct link, we get credit for that. So make sure you use our special link to go and you get like a 2-week trial for free on Skillshare where you can watch our course for free. And not just our course, but anyone else's course on Skillshare. But make sure you follow our link to give us a little leg up. That'll help us out a lot. So we'll put that out in the description box. And if not, it could be out already. But we're saying this because the timing of this video of our anniversary with the Skillshare is happening neck and neck. And I don't know which one's gonna win, like which one's gonna come out first. Also, make sure that you subscribe, you know, push that red button. It helps us a lot. And push like on our videos, leave comments. It pushes all our videos up in the algorithm.
So this is a really long video, and if you happen to still be watching us, put down in the comment below, happy 10.
So this is a little bonus surprise for Joe, but in 10 years, it's been really fun working with you, okay?
Me too.
Well, because we fight a lot. We do. Like sometimes we're filming and we do fight because we're a married couple.
We have creative differences.
Yeah, we communicate poorly. Yeah. And then when it's with your spouse, you tend to take it more personal than you would. And like your tone is not as like curbed. Like you would never talk to a fellow coworker or boss or employee like that. And sometimes we get away with doing that. But I really want to say I really appreciate you because you are my rock. Because if it wasn't for you, not only could I not do this, you know, but I would have quit. I would have quit so long ago and I would have missed out. And you teach me to fight, right? Because we had a lot of like, even personally, we had a lot of devastating moments, actually, even this past year. And we even had to, you know, deal with moving to this new house. We forgot to totally mention that at all, but we moved this past year, which was hard during a pandemic. Yeah, I feel like every day, like I drive you crazy because there are times like, there are times that I let the vanity metrics and the likes and the views and the lack of money and all that stuff really motivate and drive me and bother me. And I think that you're teaching me to stand firm and to problem solve and not get so bogged down by it, but to find a way to make it better, to improve. You're also teaching me to be, okay looking like a fool.
Because I look like a fool all the time.
Like, I don't do live videos, like live streams.
Yet.
I don't do that because I'm afraid of looking like a fool, I don't know if there's any like real fans yet. And I know that there's some of you guys, but I don't know. I guess it's like, I don't know for sure. Yeah, I lose confidence in doing this, even though you guys give me the best feedback and the most awesome heartfelt comments. And like, it gives me life when you guys tell me that you appreciate, our channel. I know it's just teaching you how to cook, but to me, it's like a lot more. Yeah, you are a rock, It's not just like the tech stuff that you bring, but it's like your ultimate belief in me and your belief in us. I thought it was me who came up with this idea. And I was trying to convince you to do YouTube, to like come out here, do this crazy journey. But you're the one who sustained us, that kept the longevity going. And every day I feel like we're just about to turn the corner. And I don't know when that day will be. You think by 10 years, at this moment that we're shooting, we have about 78,000 subscribers. And so, yeah, we went from like 1,000 and skipped a few. And then we're at 78,000. And I know in 10 years, that doesn't seem like a lot. It really doesn't, But to us, it means the world. It means like, even despite our ups and downs, moments of pausing, making mistakes, like that we were still growing. I guess discouraging when we don't get as many views on our videos. I'll be honest, right? Because we put so much into it. But at the same time, I'm learning, in these 10 years to focus on, our few and faithful, to block out the noise of negative comments and trolls, and not to, like, I learned this from Simon and Martina on YouTube, but don't water your garden with the weeds. Like, don't water the weeds, right? Because you're just gonna like feed life into that. But instead,
as far as that is concerned, don't pay attention to all the negative, because that's watering. You're giving them attention.
Yeah. But yeah, who knew that I was gonna be like crying at the end of this? So this is a surprise. So not only happy 10, if you made it to this point, I don't know what you should say. Cheer up, Julie, or something. I don't know. Happy 10, okay, if you made it to this point, write happy 10, happy tears, and we'll see that you made it to the end.
For me, now I gotta say something special. No, but like, the reason why 10 years ago wanted to do this in the first place was because you're very talented, you're well-spoken, that you were strong, and you had the easy ability. It comes naturally to you, like to walk, is to teach people and educate people about the stuff that you love. And right now it's cooking, but then even just like thrifting and just decorating and stuff like that. It comes naturally to you. So then me as a background as an advertising, like, oh, this is a product that I believe in. And therefore, no matter how much you believe in yourself or how little you believe in yourself, I know what I believe in you. And so I truly believe in our product. I believe in you as the real product of being an educator and entertainer. And so to me, it was an easy train to get on. It just as far as turning the corner, I don't think it's going to be a sharp turn. It's just little bit by little bit. Yes, we've been on for 10 years, but like, and compared to any other YouTubers that's been made 10 years, yeah, we might be smaller in that aspect, but what are we doing this for? We enjoy being creative and creating videos and then teaching and educating, and and so as long as we do that and we find happiness, everything else will eventually come, hopefully sooner than later.
Yeah.
But you're doing a great job. And, as far as content, like, I'm very, very proud of, from our very first crepe video to this 10-year, super long video, I'm very proud of the actual products of videos that we created. And so I will never regret that we've done this one from the very first video until 10 years of videos, and who knows how much longer, hopefully many more years to come, and literally have our story be out in the world for everyone else to share as well. So
yeah, I didn't know how this video would be. We made this video for our faithful few. Like we don't expect everyone to watch this, or if you're curious and you're just finding us today, and I hope you do like us and like our content, everything we've made in the past and going forward.
You're welcome to binge watch.
Yeah, welcome to join our universe.
All of our playlists and...
Yeah. And also let me know in the comments if you are our faithful few, if you might be interested in something like a membership. Maybe we need to start a community together, and yeah, maybe push myself out of that comfort zone, whether that's me doing more like live sessions with you or, hanging out together, answering questions. That's something we're chewing on as we expand. Well, thanks guys. Thank you so much for watching. Make sure that you push like, leave a comment down below, subscribe to our channel, and hit that bell for notifications. So when a video like this, all sappy and not, or something else comes out the next time. And we can't wait to spend more time with you in our future videos. Thanks so much for watching.
We'll see you later. We'll see you next time. It's been a while.
It has. We'll see you next time. Bye.
Bye.